the GOAT. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? I'm Max Kellerman, and welcome to This Just In, a fast hour around the world of sports and how I see it. And we start with the greatest player in NFL history calling it a career. Tom Brady told the world this morning, after 22 seasons, 10 Super Bowl appearances, and 7 Super Bowl rings, it doesn't even sound realistic. He's hanging them up. He said, "This is difficult for me to write." He posted it on Instagram, but here it goes. "I'm not going to make the competitive commitment anymore. I've loved my NFL career, and now it's time to focus my time and energy on other things that require my attention. My teammates, coaches, fellow competitors, and fans deserve 100% of me. But right now, it's best I leave the field of play to the next generation of dedicated and committed athletes." Yeah, I mean, for a guy who still had to make up his mind, boy, he sure had that ready to go, didn't he? He wasn't sure. Yeah, he wasn't sure what he was going to do. And he had the whole thing written out with subheadings and everything. Word perfect, Jeff.
Sure he was.
Jeff Saturday, Dan Graziano, Damian, Woody. All right, Damian, you're a Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl champion, teammate of Tom Brady's. As his former teammate, what went through your mind when you heard it was official?
Job well done, man. Job well done. And when I look at Tom Brady, man, everyone tends to look at Tom Brady through the lens of who he is right now. 7-time Super Bowl champion. But Tom Brady really is the American dream. Think about it. This was a guy that came into the league in the 6th round, 199th pick. I was there when Tom Brady was a 4th-string quarterback. You know, and Jeff Saturday can attest to this. Not a lot of teams even carry around four quarterbacks on today's roster. Right. This is a guy that just methodically moved his way up the depth chart, and then ultimately got an opportunity on, you know, when Drew Bledsoe got hit in that game against the New York Jets by Mo Lewis, and then the rest is history. He took his chance and ran with it. So truly American dream type of story.
Yeah, talk about the depth chart from 6th-round pick up the depth chart to 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, starter, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, multiple, and retires as the greatest of all time. Jeff, that really only happens in football. You know, in basketball and baseball, those undrafted guys almost never, you know, achieve forget about this level. What's your reaction now that Tom Brady has called it a career?
It's bittersweet for me. I want him to keep playing, right? Like, I think he's the MVP of this year. So, you know, as much as I've enjoyed watching him play, but to Woody's point, man, well deserved, dude. He's earned everything he's gotten, and we just talked about that, how important it is. And he's the ultimate teammate. Like, when you think about him, in every conversation he ever has, he's talking about we, and it's talking about what we have to do. But he ultimately has been the driver. He has made everybody around him better, whether that was in New England, whether that was in Tampa Bay. He has created this nucleus of people, and the focus was so sharp, and he's so driven and never satisfied. And however he can do that, talk about true leadership, he makes everyone else around him have that same mentality. That's hard to do. Like work ethic is usually not infectious, but for whatever reason, Tom Brady knew how to take that and channel it to everybody around him, and it's a beautiful thing. So, man, tipping my hat, congratulations, the greatest to ever do it. But, man, coming off an MVP season, I would sure like to see you do it more, but I could totally understand the decision.
Cross, you know, I thought he was the GOAT when he was on 4. And, you know, Montana had a real good argument. He was on 4 and 13 TDs, no interceptions, and Montana was 4-0, right? And since I made the Cliff prediction, he won 3 more since I like
2 different teams. I mean, look, this is a guy that refused to accept defeat, right? He wasn't supposed to start at Michigan, right? There was a guy there named Drew Henson who was like the golden boy prospect. He beat him out. He wasn't supposed to start in New England. They had Drew Bledsoe there, who was a #1 overall pick, beat him out. He was a 6th-round pick that ended up being a better quarterback than all the ones that were drafted in front of him. Won the Super Bowl 7 times. Not only established something in New England that felt like it was on autopilot.
That's right.
Then he took it, and he went to Tampa, where he was the new guy, and everybody just gravitated to him. He made everybody there better. It just, I don't know. That last chapter to me is the cherry on top, because he didn't have to do it. And it didn't have to work the way it did, but that underlines what he is and what he is to the people who have been around him.
When Tom Brady was 100 years old, history will show, he stopped Mahomes twice.
He did.
Patrick Mahomes, the greatest of this generation, stopped him in the AFC Championship, stopped him in the Super Bowl. You know what's crazy to me about Brady, guys? When I was a kid, until very recently, there was no answer to who's the GOAT in football. There was in baseball, it was Babe Ruth. I'm sorry, everyone, but there's a consensus. Yeah. In basketball, it's Michael Jordan. He established the consensus. LeBron's now challenging that, right? But there was in golf, there was Nicklaus and could Tiger Woods pass it. There was not a GOAT in football. Jim Brown, Johnny Unitas, was it Joe Montana? Well, Jerry Rice for receivers, Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
There is now a practically unanimous answer to who is the greatest of all time in the NFL. The answer, asking him, is Tom Brady. It's unbelievable. Damian, did it exist before Brady? You ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. Now?
Yeah, listen, there's going to be debates and all those type of things, but I just know, as far as the guy that I played with, I don't know of anyone with a bigger competitive spirit, a bigger drive, a bigger chip on their shoulder than Tom Brady. And he was able to permeate all of that energy to everyone else, and that collectively led to the Patriot way. And the great thing, Max, is, he transferred that out of New England and took that to Tampa Bay. How many coaches that came from yes.
I want to know when you knew. Not that, hey, this kid's got something. Hey, this kid's good. Hey, we can win with this guy, but, oh, wait a minute. That's different. When did you know that?
It was the last drive in Super Bowl 36, going up against the greatest show on turf. The Rams, they came back, they tied up the game, and a lot of people thought we should have played for overtime. But, in the huddle, we were like, no, we're going to go ahead and try to win this thing because we got Tom Brady. And we went methodically down the field in the biggest game of the season, which led to Adam Vinatieri kicking the game-winning field goal. And at that point in time, I'm like, yeah, he's a superstar. Like, this dude has all the goods in this moment.
Graz, what are let's spin it forward, as they say. Ain't no more Brady in the NFL. What do the Bucs do at quarterback now?
Yeah, that's the big question. Right now, they could go out and be in the market for one of these veterans that we've been talking about now for the last few weeks. But they have a lot of free agents to sign. I mean, Chris Godwin, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Ndamukong Suh, Leonard Fournette, the center. Ryan Jensen, that's an important position. I don't know if you know. The center is an important position. He's going to be a hot item in free agency. So I don't know. If they don't get a veteran quarterback, then they got to think about, do we rebuild? And if that's the case, then is it Kyle Trask, who they drafted last year? Is Bruce Arians going to want to coach that? Like, there's a lot of potential ways to go.
They got two coordinators that might not be, that have been up for head coaching jobs as well. So just think about everything that could potentially leave with the free agents you're talking about, and coaches, and Tom Brady. Like the Bucs are staring down right now. I can tell you this. Today's an uncomfortable day. They're celebrating Tom Brady, but everybody in that building's going,
Brady got to the NFL in the year 2000, the first year of he has spent the entire 21st century, literally until today, has been the Tom Brady era in American football, if not sports. And this just in, accurate. Now that Tom Brady's finally announced his retirement, it's only fair that we bask in the warm glow of my infamous and apparently inspiring prediction for Tom Brady over half a decade ago. Tom Brady's just about done. It could be his next game he plays, it could be a year from now, but he is going to fall off a cliff. Ooh, handsome. Yeah. Sorry. I'll tell you what, guys. Since then, he's had a Hall of Fame career. If that's the only thing he did is since I made that prediction, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah. You chose poorly.
Wasn't great.
You chose poorly. I mean, that didn't age well, whatever it said now, but you own it, which I love it.
But the other thing is, guys, really it points out his greatness, because until then, I said the same thing about Brett Favre. I did it on New York radio. Everyone told me I was crazy, fell off the cliff. Peyton Manning on Sports Nation for 2 years, Marcellus Wiley and I arguing about, fell off the cliff. Everyone who ever lived fell off the cliff. Not only did he not fall off the cliff, he kept going for years and years. Maybe he played the best football of his career and retired with no cliff in sight.
It's called a tendency buster. Tendency buster, that's what you did. You ate the numbers game.
I'll tell you what, guys. The man in the arena, Teddy Roosevelt's speech that he made a